Hi everyone, it's Mr. P with another How Do We video here today. Today we're going to continue looking at Jamboard, and I'm going to share a few examples of how I've used Jamboard in the classroom as a collaborative tool and also to provide me with excellent feedback during remote learning. Come and have a look. So in my last video, we looked at Jamboard and we looked at all the different tools that Jamboard has available. If you want to check that video out, it is on the website, so please go and take a look. But today we're going to have a look at some different uses of Jamboard and how you can use it collaboratively in the classroom. So the first one I've got up here in front of you is an example of how I've sort of started to generate a VCOT board with the children in my classroom. So as you can see, they've had to just come up with a list of nouns that they know and pop them onto a sticky note on the screen. So giving them a bit of a success criteria, trying to push them to get as many as they can. And what I always ask them to do is to pop the nouns that they can think of on one sticky note, or their ideas on one sticky note, so that the page doesn't become too crowded. So once they've all got up there, what you can really do then is you can really dig into what they've done using that pen tool. They'll be able to see what you're doing. You can then circle good examples, so they'll be able to see them. You can pick on things such as capital letters. You can do those kinds of little things you do in classroom, but over the screen. So for example here, like for Jamie, whoever put Jamie in as a noun would want to check that Jamie needed to have a capital J for Jamie as well. So once we've done that and we generated the list, we moved on then and we started to retrieve nouns from the text. So we've been looking at this beautiful story called Home, and the children then had to retrieve, using Rex Retriever, the nouns from the text that they were able to find. So as you can see from here, you get quick instant feedback. The children understand what a noun is, and then we can look later on to apply that in their own sentences. Again, some more examples there of how they've retrieved the nouns from the text and popped them up onto the page. So great visual, quick feedback for you when you're doing something collaborative. So another great use that I've found for Jamboard is using it as a starter for a lesson. So the lesson today was going to be focusing on adjectives. I gave the children a stimulus, so you can see the picture that's set into the background, and because it's set as a background, it's not going to move anywhere. Okay, and they then had to generate a list of words or ideas and words that they could come up with for the picture in the background. So you could choose any image you want. You could make this part of your stimulus. It could be a cartoon, or it could be a concept cartoon for science, for example. It could be pictures for literacy. It could be a problem in maths. So a really nice way to start your lesson off while the children are sort of logging in. You could put this link up on your Meet, and then the children could get on with this then whilst you're waiting for everyone to arrive and as you're registering. So there's one example. Another example again that we used this for was to unpick a text. So we're looking at character description, and the children had to then retrieve adjectives from the text of how the characters were described. And what you can then do, which is really useful for the children, is to make it really visual, is to use the highlighter tool to then highlight some of their ideas. Okay, so you can then go through and talk to them about it. Why did the author use those words? What was the reason for those choices? Those kinds of questions that we tend to ask when we're doing our reading. Okay, pose questions like, why do you think the author describes her as craning over the garden? What does that mean? So lots of good examples there of how you can use Jamboard to unpick a text and to make it really visual, just like you would in your classroom. So another great use for Jamboard that I found is using it for maths. So I've seen this used for perimeter. I've seen it used for doing anything sort of white rose related, or using it for tables, graphs and so on. But today we used it for calculating the area of the shape. So I posed a question to the children to calculate the area, and then I asked them to describe to me how they worked that out. And what's really good about that then is you can see all of the answers, but you can also see then the different ways in which children worked them out. Some of them did it by doing 7 times 5, some counted in 5s, some counted in 7s. So you get a good understanding then of how they've done it, and you can also then pinpoint some great examples, and you can also question a little bit deeper on how they've got to those answers. So it's great for maths. And to get these tools in your background, if you go to your set background option, you've got the blue graph paper there, or the grey graph paper as well. So really good use for maths as well. I'm sure the ideas you could come up with for maths on here would be absolutely unlimited. So another top example, I think, of using Jamboard for maths. So something I'm experimenting with this week is using Jamboard for labelling diagrams. So we're looking at forces in science, and we're relating that then to chariots that we're going to build eventually. And I was thinking of using Jamboard then, so the children each had a chariot on their own slide, so you could just name the slide up, direct them to their slide, and then they could then put the arrows onto the picture showing all the forces that are impacting on the movement of the chariot. What they could then do once they put the arrows on is get a text box, okay, and they could then label up each of those forces. So you can show that. So that would then show you a good understanding, or show their understanding of forces and how they can then apply them to different moving objects. You could have slides, you could have anything that would need applying forces, parachutes or anything like that, where they could use arrows to show what force is impacting on that object. So another way for science that you could use Jamboard. So there we have a few ideas on how you can use Jamboard in your classroom. I'm sure there are plenty of ideas out there of how it can be used. Make sure you check out the templates online to put in your background to make your life a lot easier. If you haven't checked it out yet, there is a how-to video on Jamboard on the website. Please check it out, and thank you all for your feedback so far. And I look forward to hearing your success stories with using Jamboard in your classroom.